Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Imagine that you are 80 years old. You are sitting quietly and thinking about your life. Now imagine that your older self can ask you one question. Just one. The question is, did you become someone you could respect? Not someone rich, not someone famous, not someone perfect, just someone you could honestly respect. How would you answer? This question sounds simple, but it is very important. Many people spend years trying to make other people happy. But deep inside, most people want to feel proud of themselves. That feeling starts with self-respect. Self-respect is not something you can buy. It is not something another person can give you. It grows from your daily choices, your habits, and the promises you keep to yourself. In today's lesson, we will talk about how to earn self-respect through simple daily actions. No difficult advice, no magic answers, just simple ideas that you can use every day. And while you listen, you will also improve your English with easy and natural language. Before we start, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and join our learning community. Now let's begin. Lesson 1. What is self-respect? Let me start with a simple question. When was the last time you treated yourself with genuine kindness? Not a reward, not a purchase, just simple, honest kindness toward your own person. Many people find that question surprisingly difficult to answer. Self-respect is not a complicated idea, but it is often misunderstood. Some people confuse it with arrogance, thinking too highly of yourself, believing you are better than others. But that is not self-respect. That is something completely different. Self-respect is quieter than that. It is the steady, honest belief that you deserve to be treated well by other people and by yourself. It does not shout. It does not demand attention. It simply exists as a foundation beneath everything you do. Many people also confuse self-respect with confidence. These two things are related but not identical. Confidence is about what you believe you can do. Self-respect is about how you believe you deserve to be treated. A person can feel very confident in their abilities and still allow others to treat them poorly. A person can feel nervous and uncertain about their skills and still maintain firm personal boundaries. Confidence lives in your capabilities. Self-respect lives in your values. Daily life shows self-respect in small and practical ways. When someone speaks to you rudely and you calmly say, "Please don't speak to me that way," that is self-respect. When a situation feels wrong and you trust that feeling instead of dismissing it, that is self-respect. When you keep a promise you made to yourself, even when nobody is watching, that is self-respect. When I respect myself, something feels different inside. Decisions become clearer. I spend less time wondering whether my feelings are valid. I waste less energy trying to earn approval from people who are not willing to give it honestly. There is a certain quietness that comes with self-respect, not emptiness. Quietness. Like a calm room where you can actually hear yourself think. Without self-respect, everything feels less stable. You accept treatment that leaves you feeling small. You say yes when every part of you means no. You shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed for you. Recognizing self-respect in your own actions takes practice. Ask yourself these simple questions. Do I speak up when something feels unfair? Do I walk away from situations that consistently hurt me? Do I keep basic promises to myself? Do I allow others to define my worth? Your honest answers reveal where you currently stand. And wherever that is, it is simply a starting point. Self-respect is not something you either have or don't have permanently. It grows. It strengthens through small daily choices. Through every moment you choose your own dignity over temporary comfort. It begins with one honest decision: to treat yourself as someone worth respecting. Lesson 2. Keep your promises to yourself. Think about the promises you made to yourself recently. Maybe last Sunday night, lying in bed, feeling motivated. Tomorrow I will wake up early. I will study for 30 minutes. I will eat something healthier. I will finally start that thing I keep postponing. Monday morning arrived. And what happened? For many people, those promises quietly disappeared. The alarm was ignored. The study session never started. The postponed task remained postponed. And life continued as normal. No consequences. Nobody noticed. Nobody was disappointed. Except one person: you. Even when we pretend not to notice broken self-promises, something inside registers every single one. Not loudly, but consistently. Each unkept commitment sends a quiet message to your deeper self. Your word does not mean much, even to yourself. Repeated enough times, this message becomes a belief. And that belief damages your self-respect slowly and invisibly. Small promises matter enormously. Not because the tasks themselves are always significant, but because completing them builds something invisible and essential: trust. Specifically, trust between you and yourself. Consider something simple. You decide to wake up at a specific time tomorrow. Not for anyone else, just for yourself. The alarm sounds. Everything in your body wants to stay horizontal. But you get up anyway. You keep that small commitment. That moment feels minor, but something real happened. You demonstrated to yourself that your decisions carry weight, that when you say something, you mean it, that you are a person who follows through. Now multiply that moment across 1 week, across 1 month. The internal evidence accumulates. Your brain begins to recognize a pattern. This person keeps their word. And gradually, your relationship with yourself becomes more solid, more reliable, more respectful. Finishing simple daily tasks carries the same power. Making your bed after waking. Completing one small work item before checking your phone. Replying to a message you have been avoiding. These actions seem trivial individually, but each finished task is a kept promise. And kept promises build the foundation of genuine self-trust. Building trust with yourself is perhaps the most underrated form of personal development. People spend enormous energy trying to become trustworthy to others. But trustworthiness toward yourself comes first. If you consistently abandon your own commitments, confidence in your own judgment weakens. Decisions feel less certain. Goals feel less achievable. Every completed promise increases self-respect in a direct and measurable way. Not dramatically, but honestly. You wake up when you said you would. You respect yourself slightly more. You finish what you started. You respect yourself slightly more again. These increments are small. Their accumulated effect is significant. Start with something genuinely achievable today, not an ambitious transformation. One small promise, something specific and realistic. Then keep it, simply because you said you would. That is where self-respect quietly begins to grow. Lesson 3. Speak to yourself kindly. There is a conversation happening inside your head right now. It never fully stops. From the moment you wake until you fall asleep, a voice comments on everything. Your appearance, your decisions, your mistakes, your abilities, your worth. The question is not whether this voice exists. It does, for everyone. The question is what it is actually saying to you. For many people, this inner voice is surprisingly harsh, harsher than they would ever be toward another person. After a mistake at work, it says, "You are so incompetent." After an awkward social moment, it says, "Why do you always embarrass yourself?" After a failed attempt at something new, it says, "You knew you couldn't do this." These words feel honest. They feel like self-awareness. But they are not. They are simply cruelty directed inward. And cruelty, regardless of direction, causes damage. Negative self-talk quietly erodes confidence over time. Not dramatically, gradually, like water wearing down stone. Each harsh internal comment leaves a small mark. Enough marks, repeated daily across months and years, reshape how you see yourself fundamentally. Replacing harsh words with helpful ones is the practical solution. Not with fake positivity, not with empty phrases that feel dishonest, but with the kind of language a genuinely caring friend would use. Think about your closest and most supportive friend. When you fail at something, they do not say, "You are terrible." They say something honest but gentle. "That was difficult. What can we learn from it?" They acknowledge the problem without attacking your entire identity. You deserve that same treatment from yourself. Treating yourself like a good friend sounds simple, but it requires constant practice. The habit of harsh self-talk is often deeply established. It runs automatically. Catching it requires attention and patience. Start by noticing. When a critical internal thought appears, simply observe it. There is that harsh voice again. Do not fight it aggressively. Just notice it calmly. Then offer one gentler alternative sentence. "That was a mistake. I can handle this differently next time." Daily positive thoughts do not need to be dramatic affirmations. Small and believable statements work better. "I am doing my best today. I handled that reasonably well. I am learning something new." These sentences feel modest, but repeated genuinely, they slowly shift the internal atmosphere. Kind self-talk directly improves self-respect because the two are deeply connected. How you speak to yourself reflects what you believe you deserve. And what you believe you deserve shapes every decision you make about relationships, opportunities, and personal boundaries. Begin changing the conversation inside your head today. One kinder sentence at a time. Your inner voice is listening to itself constantly. Give it better words to practice. Lesson 4. Take responsibility for your life. Something goes wrong. Immediately, the mind searches for an explanation, and very often that explanation points outward, toward another person, toward another person, toward bad timing, toward anything outside yourself. This reaction feels natural. Sometimes it even feels justified. But there is a quiet cost to this habit, and that cost appears slowly over time. When everything wrong in your life belongs to someone else, you give away something important: your power. Because if other people and external situations caused all your problems, then only other people and external situations can fix them. You become a passenger in your own life, waiting, hoping, depending on things outside your control to change before anything improves. Accepting mistakes is the first honest step toward genuine responsibility. Not self-punishment, not endless guilt. Simply looking clearly at a situation and acknowledging your part in it. I made a poor decision there. I could have communicated better. I ignored a warning sign I actually noticed. These admissions are uncomfortable, but they are also deeply empowering. Because if you contributed to a problem, you also have the ability to contribute to its solution. Learning from problems requires honesty that most people avoid. It is easier to identify what others did wrong. Much harder to examine your own choices with equal clarity. But the information found through honest self-examination is uniquely valuable. It is specific to you. It applies directly to your real patterns and habits, and it cannot be found anywhere else. Not blaming others does not mean pretending external factors are irrelevant. Sometimes people genuinely treat you unfairly. Sometimes circumstances are genuinely difficult. Acknowledging these realities is reasonable. But staying permanently focused on what others did wrong keeps your attention fixed on something you cannot change. Their behavior belongs to them. Your response belongs to you. Looking for solutions is where responsibility becomes practically powerful. Once you accept ownership of your situation, even partially, your brain shifts from complaint mode into problem-solving mode. Questions change. Instead of "why did this happen?" you begin asking, "what can I actually do now?" That shift produces movement where previously there was only frustration. Growing stronger through responsibility happens gradually and genuinely. Each time you face a difficulty honestly, acknowledge your role and search for a constructive path forward. Something inside you becomes more capable, more resilient, more trusted by yourself. This is not about being harsh with yourself. It is about being honest with yourself. There is an important difference. Harsh judges. Honest simply sees clearly and then asks, "What next?" Your life responds to your choices. Take ownership of those choices. That is where real personal strength begins. Lesson 5. Do the right thing when nobody is watching. Imagine this. You are walking down the street. You look down and see some money on the ground. Nobody is nearby. Nobody saw it fall. Nobody is watching you right now. What do? This small moment reveals something important about your character, not to other people. They cannot see you. It reveals something to the only person who is always present, yourself. Integrity is the practice of doing the right thing, even when no reward exists, even when no punishment is possible, even when nobody will ever know the difference. It sounds simple, but in real daily life, it requires genuine effort. Honesty in daily life appears in moments most people consider unimportant. A shopkeeper gives you extra change by mistake. Do you return it or quietly keep it? A colleague receives blame for something you also contributed to. Do you stay silent or speak up? These situations feel minor, but your response to minor situations builds your actual character over time. Being truthful is harder than it sounds. Small dishonesty feels harmless. A slightly exaggerated story, a convenient excuse, a quiet omission of information that would complicate things. Each individual instance seems insignificant, but a pattern of small dishonesty creates distance between who you present yourself as and who you actually are. That distance is uncomfortable to live with, even when nobody else notices it. Returning things that do not belong to you is a clear and practical act of integrity. Found money, borrowed items returned promptly, accidentally received packages given back without hesitation. These actions cost you something small. They build something significant. A solid sense of your own honesty. Something you can trust about yourself unconditionally. Making good choices when alone is the purest test of values. Anyone can behave well when others are watching, when reputation is at stake, when consequences are visible. But the choices you make in private, when no external pressure exists, reveal what you genuinely believe is right. Why does this matter for self-respect specifically? Because you cannot truly respect someone you do not trust, including yourself. When your private behavior matches your public values, something inside feels settled, consistent, clean. You do not carry the quiet weight of hidden contradictions. But when private choices contradict stated values, a subtle internal tension develops. You know something others do not, and that knowledge, even when buried, affects how comfortable you feel inside your own skin. Integrity builds self-respect from the inside outward. Nobody needs to acknowledge it. Nobody needs to reward it. The reward is internal. A quiet and steady confidence in your own character. Do the right thing today, even in an empty room. Especially in an empty room. Lesson 6. Improve your habits. Little by little, nobody becomes their best self overnight. Real change does not arrive suddenly. It arrives slowly, quietly, through small actions repeated every day. Think about one drop of water. Alone, it is powerless. But drops falling on the same stone day after day eventually leave a permanent mark. Your daily habits work the same way. Small, consistent, powerful over time. Small improvements ask very little from you. 5 minutes of reading before breakfast. 10 minutes of English practice during lunch. A short walk after dinner. These feel almost too easy. Too minor to matter. But that feeling is wrong. Small habits are not measured daily. They are measured across months and years. Reading every day builds something invisible. Your vocabulary grows slowly. New ideas appear. Your concentration gets stronger. One page today feels nothing. But one page every day across a full year changes your mind genuinely. The effort is small. The result is real. Learning English works the same way. One new sentence today seems forgettable, but that sentence, practiced tomorrow and used next week, becomes permanent inside your memory. Language does not grow from big study sessions. It grows from small daily contact. A little listening, a little speaking, a little reading, every single day. Healthy habits matter too. Drink enough water. Sleep at regular times. Move your body a little. These simple physical choices affect your thinking directly. A rested body makes better decisions. A healthy body handles problems more calmly. When you ignore basic physical needs, everything else becomes harder. Progress is more important than perfection. Perfection wants everything immediately. It sets impossible standards. Then it punishes every small failure harshly. Progress only asks for movement. Any movement. Forward. Slow is fine. Imperfect is fine. One imperfect habit practiced daily is worth more than one perfect habit practiced once. Consistency beats intensity every time. Showing up regularly, even poorly, produces more change than occasional perfect effort. Some days feel easy. Habits flow naturally. Other days feel heavy. Everything requires effort. Both days count equally. Actually, the difficult days where you continue anyway are often the most important ones. They build real discipline. Do not wait for motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Show up anyway. Do the small thing anyway. Keep the small promise to yourself anyway. Start with one habit today. Something simple. Something honest. Practice it tomorrow. Then the day after. You are already improving. Keep going long enough to finally see it. Lesson 7. Respect your time and energy. You have exactly 24 hours today. The same as everyone else. The same as the most productive person you admire. The same as someone who seems to accomplish nothing. The hours are identical. What happens inside them is not. Time is the one resource distributed completely equally, and yet people experience wildly different results from the same amount of it. The difference is rarely intelligence or talent. It is almost always choice. Specifically, the daily choices about where attention and energy go. Using time wisely does not require a complicated system. It starts with one honest question asked regularly throughout your day. Is what I am doing right now moving me towards something that matters? Not every moment needs to be productive. Rest is valuable and necessary. But there is a significant difference between intentional rest and unconscious drifting through hours that could have been meaningful. Limiting distractions is perhaps the most practical skill available today. Phones, notifications, endless scrolling. These things are genuinely designed by intelligent people to capture your attention and hold it as long as possible. They are very good at their purpose. Recognizing this is not weakness. It is clarity. And clarity allows you to make conscious decisions about when these tools serve you and when they simply consume you. Choosing useful activities requires knowing what useful actually means for your specific life. Useful for one person looks different from useful for another. But some questions apply universally. Does this activity build a skill? Does it strengthen a relationship? Does it support my health? Does it move me closer to something I genuinely care about? Activities that answer yes to these questions deserve your limited energy. Activities that answer no deserve honest examination. Creating simple goals gives your time direction. Not elaborate plans with complicated timelines. Just clear and honest intentions. This week, I want to finish one lesson each day. This month, I want to build one new habit. Simple goals act like gentle guides. They help you notice when your time drifts away from what actually matters to you. Feeling proud of productive days is a real and valuable reward. Not pride in perfection. Pride in genuine effort. When you reach the end of a day, knowing you used your hours with some intention, something feels settled inside. Satisfied. That feeling is worth pursuing deliberately. Energy follows the same principles as time. It is limited. It depletes with use. And what you spend it on matters significantly. Physical rest restores energy. Meaningful activity sustains it. Draining situations and people consume it without return. Protect both your time and energy with the same seriousness you would protect something truly precious. Because they are. Lesson 8. Believe in your ability to grow. There are two ways people tend to see their own abilities. The first way sounds like this. I am simply not good at this. Some people are naturally talented, and I am not one of them. The second way sounds different. I cannot do this yet, but with time and honest effort, I can improve. These two beliefs lead to completely different lives. The first belief feels protective. If you were simply born without certain abilities, failure makes sense. Avoiding challenges feels reasonable. Staying inside familiar and comfortable territory seems logical. But this belief is also a quiet trap. It closes doors before you even approach them. It turns limitations into permanent walls instead of temporary obstacles. The second belief requires more courage. It means trying things knowing you might fail visibly. It means staying with difficulty longer than feels comfortable. It means trusting a process whose results are not immediately visible. But this belief keeps doors open. It transforms every setback into information rather than confirmation of permanent inadequacy. Everyone can improve. This is not motivational language. This is how human brains actually function biologically. The brain changes through experience and practice. New skills create new neural connections. Repeated practice strengthens those connections until difficult things become easier. This process is available to every person regardless of starting point. Learning from failure is central to genuine growth. When something goes wrong, two responses exist. You can interpret the failure as evidence that you are not capable, or you can examine it honestly for useful information. What specifically went wrong? What would you adjust next time? What did this experience reveal about where you currently need more practice? The second response is harder but infinitely more productive. Being patient with progress is genuinely difficult in a world that celebrates rapid results. But impatience with slow growth causes people to quit exactly when their investment is beginning to produce returns. A seed planted does not become visible immediately. But something is happening underground. Trust that invisible process. Building a growth mindset means actively choosing the belief that effort produces improvement. Not just intellectually agreeing, but practically applying it when things feel hard. When you struggle with something new, remind yourself honestly. This is difficult because it is new. Difficulty is temporary. Competence is coming. Trusting yourself more every day grows from accumulated evidence. Each small challenge faced, each mistake examined and learned from, each moment of continuing when stopping felt easier. These experiences build a personal history of resilience, a quiet record that says, I have handled difficulty before. I can handle it again. You are not finished growing, not even close. Trust that completely.